The mission begins in the quiet hours before dawn at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, where the B-2 Spirit prepares for a flight that, will span continents. While the stealth bomber is capable of flying non-stop with aerial refueling, pilot fatigue is honestly a major consideration. To mitigate this, the U.S. has strategically positioned Allied air bases in Qatar, closer to Iran, and on Diego Garcia, and possibly forward operating bases such as Andersen Air Force Base in Guam, which is, by the way, one of the most strategic U.S. military bases in the world. By redeploying several B-2 Spirit bombers from the 509th Bomb Wing to Diego Garcia, the U.S. ensures a secure launch point for operations across the Middle East, Africa, and the Indo-Pacific. A carefully calculated military strategy that, really, enhances both survivability and operational reach. They are also escorted by aircraft carriers and submarines across the Arabian Sea. F/A-18 Super Hornets and EA-18G Growlers launch from the decks of U.S. carriers, their roles already defined. Some will clear a path through Iran's air defenses, while others will guard the tankers that, honestly, keep the entire operation airborne. The KC-135 Stratotankers, laden with fuel, loiter in friendly airspace over Saudi Arabia, their crews aware that their unglamorous task could mean the difference between triumph and catastrophe. As the B-2s lift off, their jagged silhouettes blend into the night sky. Stealth is their shield, but distance is their enemy. Hours into the flight, they rendezvous with tankers flying over the canal, guzzling fuel mid-air as F-18s circle protectively. The Growlers emit a cacophony of electronic noise, masking the strike group's movements. Meanwhile, in underground command centers, U.S. analysts watch real-time feeds ready to redirect forces if Iran's radars flicker to life. Crossing into Iranian airspace is no easy task. The B-2s must climb to an extremely high altitude, their routes meticulously plotted to avoid known missile sites. Below the landscape, a vast stretch of mountains and deserts offers little cover, but the bomber's radar-absorbing skin helps them slip past enemy detection. As the targets come within range, the crews face a critical decision. Should they launch standoff missiles from hundreds of miles away, or, descend to drop bunker-busting bombs directly onto fortified sites? There are different bunker-buster bombs of different caliber, but what really sets it apart from the rest is the GBU-57, which is typically delivered by the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, due to the bomb's large size and weight. The aircraft can carry only 2 of these weapons in its bomb bay compartments. While it lacks thrusters, the weapon is equipped with 4 active lattice fins and a precision guidance system that enables it to glide accurately to its target using military-grade GPS. Constructed from a specially designed high-performance steel alloy, it uses its weight when falling under gravity to penetrate or dig itself up to 200 feet of underground soil or concrete. But it's not that easy. Iran's air defenses remain a formidable threat. MiG-29s and aging F-14s may not be cutting edge, but they can still be dangerous if they're lucky enough to intercept a B-2 stealth bomber. The stealth bombers have virtually no dogfighting capability, and Iranian ground controllers, struggling to cut through the electronic jamming, vector their fighters toward the incoming bombers. But the U.S. military has its own countermeasures. EA-18G Growlers flood Iranian frequencies with static to disrupt communications and targeting systems. Confusion spreads, making it harder for enemy pilots to coordinate. If Iranian fighter jets manage to get close, the F-18s are waiting, guided by airborne warning and control system aircraft orbiting safely offshore. They engage with long-range missiles, forcing Iranian pilots to either break off or face certain destruction. The B-2s will now be racing westward to avoid Iranian air defense systems. Behind them, the sky churns with chaos. SAM sites, reactivated in desperation, unleash salvos that spiral harmlessly into empty air, duped by decoys. Growlers continue their electronic siege, while reserve F-18s surge forward to reinforce the retreat. Over Iraq, the bombers meet tankers again. guzzling fuel as F-22 Raptors join the escort, their sensors scanning for threats the Iranians might muster. Let's take a look at how this works. Step 1. The bomb deployment platform. As previously mentioned, a B-2 stealth bomber flies at a very high altitude. When the aircraft reaches the designated location, and the conditions are optimal, it releases the weapon. Then Step 2 comes, targeting precision. The bomb is outfitted with advanced guidance technology, including GPS and inertial navigation systems, which are military-grade satellites. Then comes Step 3, adjusting the trajectory. The guidance information and data are then transmitted to the bomb's 4 lattice fins located at the rear. These fins can move and adjust in real time, allowing the bomb to correct its course as it descends under the force of gravity. These adjustments are essential because the weapon does not have thrusters to change its trajectory. Instead, it relies on the movement of these fins and a high-altitude drop to control its flight path. This is why the bomb must be deployed from a very high altitude, so it has enough time and distance to adjust its trajectory accurately. Here comes the most difficult part. Step 4. Impact and penetration. The bomb, known as the massive Ordnance Penetrator, weighs approximately 30,000 pounds, which is around 14,000 kilograms. When it reaches its target, it strikes with immense force designed to penetrate deep into hardened structures such as bunkers. The energy upon impact allows the bomb to bury itself over 200 feet into reinforced concrete, ensuring it delivers its payload precisely where it is intended for maximum effect. Finally, Step 5 involves the tricky part of arming the weapon. It is installed with 2 SDB fuses. Double fuses are required as a backup. The first is for G-sensing, and the second is the time delay fuse. Why the redesign was necessary? It was to ensure that the bomb could strike facilities buried beneath significant layers of hardened material. For this reason, the fuses are placed at the rear of the bomb to prevent them from being damaged. Once the time delay or the G-sensing fuse reaches its destination, it can blow up, creating a mini earthquake that can bury bunkers and 20-story buildings inside them. Let's take a look at why Israel has been bombarding Iran's nuclear sites since June 13, 2025, yet has failed to penetrate them, and why the United States had to bring in B-2 Spirit bombers to take out these heavily fortified bunkers. These nuclear facilities aren't just hidden, they're buried under layers of reinforced concrete and soil, designed specifically to withstand most conventional attacks. Israel has been using its own bunker-buster bombs, but they were only able to destroy the ventilation shafts. These weapons have not been able to fully penetrate Iran's most fortified underground nuclear sites. The aim is to chip away at the defenses layer by layer. This is where the B-2 Spirit comes in, flies close to the target, opens the bomb bay door, and drops the 30,000-pound bunker-buster weapon without any interference from Iranian air defense systems capable of deeper penetration. The outcome might have been more decisive, possibly damaging or even destroying the underground uranium enrichment facilities in one go. As stated, the United States' primary goal is to target Iran's nuclear program by hitting its most critical enrichment sites, specifically Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Take Natanz, for example. This facility includes 6 above-ground buildings and 3 underground structures, 2 of which are large enough to hold 50,000 centrifuges, according to the Nuclear Threat Initiative. For this site, the U.S. Navy submarines launched 30 cruise and land attack missiles targeting these nuclear facilities, which didn't require deep penetration. When ready to launch, it will open the hatch and the protective seal will break open. High-pressure air is pumped into the tube, and these are used to eject the cruise missile. The tip of the missile breaks the water's surface, the rocket boosters fire and propel the missile into its path. Boosters fall off as soon as the missile is out of the water. They went far beyond surface damage, knocking out power on the lower levels where the centrifuges are housed. The above-ground section of the pilot fuel enrichment plant was also destroyed. Now let's consider Fordow. Unlike Natanz, Fordow is actually located deep underground and protected by these extensive fortifications. Israel targeted it with some pretty advanced bunker-busting munitions, but honestly the results were far less conclusive. Their bombs really struggled to break through the dense shielding. This is where the US steps in and, well, dropped around 12 GBU-57s on these sites. You know, these bombs can punch through about 200 feet underground, which is roughly the height of a 20-story tall building. That means it can actually penetrate Fordow's nuclear site, which is exactly what's needed for deep penetration. This heavy, compact design is what enables it to break through over 200 feet of reinforced concrete, effectively destroying Fordow's nuclear enrichment facility. We make original videos from scratch, so please do subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos.